Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? It's Marcus Benjamin. We're coming to you from the studios here, and we're living in the black, unscripted, off the cuff, off the top, no production, no script. It's just me sharing just the thoughts that's on my mind right now. I'm getting ready to go live this evening. This is Tuesday evening, Eastern Standard Time at 7 o'clock, and we'll be going live here from the epicenter in Forest Park, in Forest City, North Carolina. So, just want to give you a couple of unscripted thoughts before we head over to the studio to get ready for the live broadcast. And the thought that was on my mind a few moments ago was the word or the reality of clusters. Yeah, clusters. You know, you think of clusters. What do you think about? We think about grapes, right? Nobody, buys a single grape from the store. What about olives? Nobody buys a single olive from the store. What about salt? Nobody buys or wants a single grain of salt. What about pepper? Nobody wants a single pepper. What about sand on a beach? Nobody goes to a beach for one single grain of sand. All of these elements, minerals, they represent clusters. These fruit, they represent clusters. And it is a part of God's plan for your life and mine for us to understand the dynamic of clusters. We're not supposed to be alone. We're not supposed to be by ourselves. And I don't mean solitude for personal reflection and time. I'm talking about purpose. I'm talking about a calling. I'm talking about productivity. I'm talking about getting things done. It's a necessity that you begin to evaluate your clusters, your friendships, your close relationships, your close partnerships, the people who you interact and interchange with, because clusters produce great productivity. You put grapes together and you squeeze them to get a vintage of wine. You put olives together and you squeeze them to get oil or to get fragrance or to get olive oil. You put one grain of salt together with other grains of salt to get something you can sprinkle over food to add flavor or to meat for preservative. Same thing with pepper as a flavoring. You go to the beach for what? Grains of sand, because those grains of sand causes a great experience. And so in my few moments that's remaining, I want to challenge you to evaluate your cluster. Who are you being squeezed together with? Who are you connected to? Who are you related to? I'm not just talking about your family. That's important, certainly. But I'm talking about as you aspire, as you seek to add value to your life, as you seek to grow professionally, grow entrepreneurially, grow in your faith, grow in your walk with God. What's your cluster? When God saves you, He saves you and He desires for you to be a part of a local church, a strong cluster of believers. When you're born into a natural family. Your natural family represents your what? Your immediate cluster. The people you are squeezed together with in the vicissitudes of life as you grow older. When you go to college, you go into college classes with peers and friends and groups and so forth. I'm just trying to get you to understand that a principle of life is clustering. But it matters if you are intentional about your cluster. It matters that you are deliberate about your cluster, because your cluster determines your ultimate future. You show me your friends, I'll show you your future. You show me your core relationships, I'll show you your core future. So as we conclude in this living in the black, unscripted, if we're going to get out of the red, out of deficits, and into the black, into surplus, into more than enough, into enhancement, we have to evaluate our cluster and in turn be intentional about clustering with the right group of people. Because if we cluster with the right group of people, guess what happens? Yeah, we produce wine. We produce something that's valuable, that's marketable. We produce oil, something that gives light and fragrance and heat. We produce salt, something that's flavorful and preserving. We produce pepper, something that's flavoring and adds spice to life. We produce sand, something that is beautiful, beneficial, and provides warmth and comfort as we walk through the beaches of life. So Marcus Benjamin here for Living in the Black Unscripted, just challenging you and encouraging you to evaluate your cluster and keep your cluster the right way, the right type, the right focus, so that you can produce something that's greater than you can ever produce on your own. I'm Marcus Benjamin, Living in the Black Unscripted.